What's up, cinephiles? My name is TJ, and welcome to Cinemateq. And happy Friday the 13th, or as we like to call it around here, Kevin Bacon's Stabby Stabby Fun Day. It's like a national holiday of sorts. And before we get into the news, I just want to give a special shout out to a TIFF volunteer that I met last night. Well, I sort of met him last night. It was at a screening of Chikorrotos, and as I was walking into the theater, he asked me if I was TJ and if I was the guy who does this channel. And it was actually very surreal to have that kind of experience, because we only have like 53 subs on this channel. We've only been around for a couple of months, which is not that long in terms of YouTube time. So thank you for saying that you like the channel and that you enjoy what we're doing here. That actually meant a lot to me. And it's one of those things that just helps you keep going, keep doing these weekly news wrap-ups and all the other stuff we do on the channel. So cheers to you. So now we are off to the races with your weekly news wrap-up, starting off with the Venice Film Festival and all of the awards that they handed out. Well, we're not going to talk about all of the awards because there's too many of them, but we're going to touch on some of the more important ones and some of the ones that I think warrant a bit more attention. So to begin, a general overview. The Golden Lion was won by Joker, which was directed by Todd Phillips. The Grand Jury Prize was won by An Officer and a Spy by Roman Polanski. The Silver Lion, which is awarded to the Best Director at the festival, went to Roy Andersson for About Endlessness. Best Screenplay was awarded to Number 7 Cherry Lane by Jan Fan. And the Luigi De Laurentiis Award for Best Debut Feature went to You Will Die at 20 by Amjad Abu Alala. Now, a couple of points to touch on. Number 7 Cherry Lane by Jan Fan winning Best Screenplay. I can't remember any time an anime film has won Best Screenplay at Venice, so congratulations for that. And of course, Joker winning the Golden Lion is a big deal. Very rarely do big Hollywood films win this award. And it's even rarer, in fact, I don't even think it's happened before, that a comic book film from a big studio has won the Golden Lion at Venice. So this is a huge deal. The last two films to win the Golden Lion were Shape of Water and Roma. And both of those films went on to have very good Oscar showings, with Shape of Water winning Best Picture and Roma almost winning Best Picture, and it really should have, let's be honest. So now we just have to consider Joker an Oscar contender. There's no two ways about it. But now we have to talk about the person who cannot show up to the Oscars because they have an outstanding warrant against them, Roman Polanski. We've talked about this on the channel before, with Alain Delon being given a Lifetime Achievement Award at Cannes. And now, with Roman Polanski being given an award at Venice, we have to have this conversation again. We need to stop giving awards to shitty people. And when I say shitty people, I don't mean people who maybe said something on Twitter that they shouldn't have, or other things like this. I'm talking about someone like Roman Polanski, who was literally convicted for statutory rape after he had sex with a 13-year-old. He's not allowed back in the United States because of this, and yet, he shows up to Venice, he is let in to an exclusive competition, and is then awarded the second place prize in the entire festival. I don't understand it. I don't understand why this is still happening. We have to judge by a better standard than this. Moving on to a more uplifting story, sort of, kind of, but the broader implications, not really. Ukrainian filmmaker Oleg Sentsov has been released thanks to a prisoner exchange with Russia. Sentsov, prior to his arrest, was noted as being very upset with the Russian government and their annexation of Crimea. He is from Crimea, so you can see why he would have a problem with that. He was also a vocal critic of the pro-Russian Ukrainian government. Now, according to Variety, in May 2014, he was arrested by Russian authorities at his home in Crimea, jailed for a year in Moscow, then convicted by a military court of terrorist crimes, charges that critics say were trumped up. Sentsov was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Now, Sentsov was released because Russia and the Ukraine decided to have a prisoner exchange, so 35 Ukrainians were returned to Ukraine from Russia. And this serves as a stark reminder that there are still places in the world where speaking out about the government, even when it's not technically your government, can lead to arrest and imprisonment. And this is so sad. We get to talk about it on this channel because it happened to a filmmaker, but it's happening to so many other people all throughout the world, and more needs to be done about it. Now, this story does have a happy ending. but not everybody gets those happy endings. And we need to remember that as we continue on into the future. And now we're getting into the quick stories, the shortcuts, the jump cuts, the fast cuts. I don't know what to call this section. You tell me in the comments below. Starting off with Netflix and Amazon not being allowed to have press and industry screenings at the Scotiabank Theatre for TIFF. Now at first I thought this was just Cineplex being petty, but it actually makes sense from a business standpoint. At film festivals, typically there are press and industry screenings so that people who are there for writing reviews and things like this don't take seats away from people who are actually paying to see films. And at TIFF, a lot of them happen at Scotiabank Theatre because there's like 14 screens there and they can just get a lot of people through to see these films. At this year's TIFF, Cineplex decided that they were not going to allow any Netflix or Amazon films to have their press and industry screenings at Scotiabank Theatre, which is actually kind of understandable. You don't want to be giving free screenings to the people who are directly trying to destroy you. And hey, speaking of face-offs, best segue ever, Paramount has decided to reboot Face Off. Yes, it's actually happening. Oren Uzel, who wrote the Cloverfield Paradox, will be writing the reboot, and the film will be produced by Neil Moritz. Now normally we don't talk about big studio films on this channel, but I felt compelled to mention it because Mike Donato, who contributes to a few film news websites, gave us the dream casting, the true dream team that we probably don't even deserve because of how perfect it is. He suggests that Vanessa Kirby and Samara Weaving should face off against each other, and I am so on board with this I can't even believe it. It has to happen. Please, Paramount, watch this show once and then never watch it again. I don't care, just do this for me. And speaking of women who kick ass, Blumhouse has signed Gigi Saul Guerrero to a first look deal. The deal includes feature film and television productions that she will write and direct herself. Now her name might not be familiar to those of you who are watching. I actually didn't know who she was until I came across this article. But her most recent film, Culture Shock, which was part of the Into the Dark series on Hulu, which is also produced by Blumhouse, was getting rave reviews and played at all of the important horror film festivals that you can think of, including Fantasia Fest. So this just sounds like a smart business decision by Blumhouse, and good for them for investing in talent for the future. And now some news from our future dystopian overlords. Disney has bought out Pinewood Studios for the foreseeable future. According to Henry Chu at Variety, the deal, which is expected to begin in early 2020, includes nearly all of Pinewood's stages, backlots, and other production accommodation. It has been reported by other outlets that this deal is going to last for the next 10 years and includes literally all of Pinewood Studios except for a couple of television production studios. Now this is a big deal because it means that Pinewood, one of the biggest and most well-respected studio spaces, is just fully booked, which means that no one else can use it. James Bond films are mostly all shot at Pinewood Studios. There are also a lot of other franchises that get shot there, and now Disney's just saying, nah, this belongs to us now. This is going to continue to be a problem as Disney continues to amass power in Hollywood, and it's just one of those terrible after effects of their deal with Fox. Who knows where else this is going to lead us, but this is just another sad indicator that the film industry is becoming a monopoly. And to kick it back to some good news, some filmmakers, some deserving filmmakers, found out that their projects are being greenlit. Julia Ducournau, who is the director of Raw, has lined up her next film, and it will be called Titan, which I believe is French for titanium. The film already has distribution in North America thanks to Neon Pictures, so I'm sold, I'm on board. Let's move on to the next one. And that next one is Alexander Payne getting that Netflix money so we can make a road movie with Mads Mikkelson. The film is about Mads Mikkelson playing a journalist and going on a road trip with his daughter. Production, I believe, is supposed to start next month, or maybe they start filming next month. In any case, this is going to be a strong film for Netflix to bring to awards season next year. So look at that. It's September 2019 and we're already talking about the 2021 Oscars. Isn't the internet wonderful? And that, cinephiles, brings us to the end of this weekly news wrap-up. We hope you enjoyed all the stories that we talked about, the little rants that I went on as well, and we would just love it if you got into the comments below and let us know what you thought about all of this. And of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button so you know exactly when we release new content. Coming up next on the channel, we have the A24 Cult Podcast, where we talk about Ginger and Rosa. And for my money, I think it's the best podcast we've done yet. Number 4, it only took 4 tries to really nail it. So look forward to that coming out this Monday. That's it.